Hey y'all, you're going to be following me through my day today. We're going to start in the garden where I'm going to be planting some herbs today that I got on sale at Lowe's. And then we're going to be moving into the kitchen where I'm going to turn this mint from my garden, this is just water y'all, but I'm going to be turning this mint from my garden into a beautiful wine mojito. Then we're going to be making dinner low carb dirty rice, a little bit of spice to go with that mojito. So join me, I can't wait to get started. Two years ago when we moved into this house, I decided to plant some herbs in my garden, mostly because I just love herbs, but also because I wanted to have something that cascaded down my wall. So I planted this creeping thyme, and it has done absolutely fabulously. I decided I wanted to go ahead and continue it down my wall. And fortunately, when I went to Lowe's the other day, they had their creeping thyme on sale. If you don't know about Lowe's clearance racks in the lawn and garden department, you really need to check them out. This creeping thyme was normally $2.98. I got them for $1 a pot, and they are beautiful. They're green, they're ready to be planted, they're absolutely gorgeous. So we're going to plant some of these today, and let's get started. So I went ahead and dug my hole. My hole is about twice the size of my pot. So I'm going to get started planting the creeping thyme in here. What you want to do is you want to loosen the pot just by squeezing the edges. Very gently shake the plant out of the pot. And it's not coming out, but it will. It'll come out. I'm going to loosen up these roots just a little bit. You don't want to tear them apart, but you do want to loosen them up. So I'm going to loosen up this dirt just a little bit, give it some room to grow. In it goes into my hole, and I'm going to backfill with either potting soil or the dirt that you've already taken out of your hole. Then go ahead and water your newly planted herb. And that's it. So I've just come in from the garden, I've cleaned off, I've changed my clothes, and I'm ready to cool down now with a nice, refreshing cocktail. Then I'm going to make some dinner for my family. But first, cocktail. I'm going to be making a wine mojito with fresh mint that I got out of the garden, some beautiful limes, and some white wine. I have here Chardonnay. You can use any kind of white wine, it doesn't really matter, just depending on your taste. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I am using a low-calorie sweetener substitute instead of the agave syrup that this calls for, because believe it or not, our quarantine grocery store was out of agave syrup. So no agave. I'm going to muddle with the end of a wooden spoon. So I'm going to show you what that's all about. About 10 mint leaves you want in the bottom of your glass. And one beautiful wedge of lime. Now I'm going to just score this right down the middle to release some of the juices a little bit more. And then I'm going to muddle, and that just means pressing this in, mixing it up really good, releasing those flavors of the lime and the mint, and it will look something like that. So once I've muddled my lime and mint, I'm going to add my sweetener. That is about 2 tablespoons of sweetener. You can do less, you can do more, just depending on your taste. I'm also going to add the white wine. We're going to do about 1/2 cup of white wine. And we're going to do about 1/4 cup of club soda. Give this a quick stir. I'm going to do it with my knife because it's sitting right here. Another little squeeze of lime. And enjoy. Now that I've cooled down with my cocktail, we're going to get on to dinner. Let's start. I'm going to be making today a low-carb dirty rice recipe that I adapted from a recipe, a very simple dirty rice recipe. and adapted it for a low carb version. So let's get started. I'm starting with 2 packages because I'm making a double recipe. 2 packages of mild breakfast sausage. I'm just going to pop this into the pan, cook it, crumble it, brown it, and get it done before I go on to the rest of my ingredients. Now that I've got my meat partially brown, I'm going to go ahead and add 1 green pepper that's been chopped and 1 small onion that's been chopped. And let these go ahead and brown up the rest of the way with our sausage. That's going to give these vegetables some really good flavor frying into sausage fat. So now that my sausage, my onions, and my peppers are all sauteed and the onions are slightly translucent, I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of the ingredients. So I'm going to add 1 tablespoon, and garlic's like love, you can never have too much. So 1 tablespoon of garlic. I'm going to add pepper to taste, and I'm just using ground pepper from the grocery store. My secret ingredient is smoked paprika. It lends a smoky taste to this dirty rice that you cannot get any other way. So I'm adding smoked paprika, and I'm adding about 3 tablespoons of this. I'm adding 2 pinches of salt. And just to give it a little spicy kick, I'm going to add a little bit of ground red pepper. So that is all the seasoning that I'm adding to my dirty rice. Very simple, very easy. And this spoon is very hot. Next, I'm going to add my rice substitute. And what we found out was that obviously rice cauliflower is a perfect substitute for rice if you're looking for a low carb diet. But what we found out is because we weren't making the roux, which is a little bit of flour, a little bit of fat, that it didn't have that really full-bodied texture that true dirty rice has. So we are also adding, on top of the rice cauliflower, we're going to add a container of just frozen mashed cauliflower. And this is going to give it that body. So I'm going to add these 2 ingredients to the mix here. Now I've thawed my rice cauliflower, so it's all ready to be stirred in. And I just popped the mashed cauliflower into the microwave so that I could get that all stirred in as well. And what you're going to see is this magical transformation where it becomes very full-bodied, and it actually has the texture of having been made with a roux. Now, if you want to, when this is all finished and mixed in, you can go ahead and garnish it with some sliced green onions, but my family eats it so fast, I don't worry about garnish. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit the like button below, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.